So after testing a lot of 9.1 PTR, including the quests, the campaign, the Tesseract dungeon, and lots of in-betweens, I think it's safe to say we're worried.
I'm a little bit worried, to say the least. Well, it was always going to be a little bit too soon if they released it like now. I think pretty much everybody who's tested the PTR can agree to this, or at least the majority is that the patch is not really ready. But of course, we know that the devs can always have like a build already in motion that we don't really test.
Yes, we have to put in this disclaimer because all the time this happens, right? The build that is pushed to the PTR client is actually 1 or 2 months old. Compared to what they currently have, so maybe we're gonna get some updates. I was expecting, to be honest, updates this week. I mean, today.
Okay, sure, fine. If they have a build already with everything fixed, then that's all nice and dandy. But how are we supposed to know that? Because we're the ones that are feedbacking all of these bugs. And these bugs, at least the ones that I have encountered while going through the new content, have already been feedback, I don't know, about a month or 2 ago. I guess that's fine.
Yeah, so this is the thing, right? We normally would not have a problem with bugs being on the PTR. That's part of the process, right? You find the bug, you feedback it, you report it, it's all good. But
not a week until it's released, though.
Less than a week until the patch is released, and man, I don't know. So let's go again. Papers, right? Papers.
Yeah, papers.
It's only 2 of them. I'm probably gonna share them or whatever.
I've been suffering a great deal because of these bugs, so they're kind of ingrained in here.
Yeah, it's there. Let's start off with the campaign quest, because I know you play a lot of the campaign on the stream, and you encountered some shit.
There were some annoying bugs with some quests. I don't remember the exact ones because there's quite a few. They did kind of bag. I know what I wrote down. The thing is,
motherfucker.
There are some NPCs that didn't spawn properly, or some phasing that didn't work properly, and you kind of had to abandon and restart the quest. And I had to do that a couple of times, and through the Corthia zone. And it feels like the Corthia zone is maybe the one that has the most amount of.
So I see you wrote here, quests don't show the map marker right.
Okay, this was interesting because come on, man, you've played the vanilla. There was
Do you need an arrow to be helped?
No, but in my defense, in those quests where you didn't get an arrow on the map, you were told go south or go north. This one doesn't tell you, just assault that zone. So there was this quest. There was this quest at the south of Courtia where you just have to bombard it with a lot of stuff. I did not know I have to mount somebody. It says go talk to the legionnaire, whatever. And from the town where you pick up the quest, there's a little bird that flies you over to the zone, and it would make sense. I'll just pick the bird. I picked the bird, I landed in the zone, I was like looking around, I was like, where's the dude? And then I had to like reload the map and see that the dude was actually in the middle of the map between the base and the zone, and the quest doesn't really say that. So I have to like either look at the map and find the little marker, or just wander around. And that was a little bit annoying because it wasn't straightforward. It's not that it's a bad quest design, it's just that it doesn't match what they normally do. So I was like, okay, well, what are we doing here? Is this how it's supposed to be?
I think it's just ruining the experience, because it is like the main, I would say, new zone, right? And you go over there and you want everything to be smooth as butter, as you know, Blizzard used to make things back in the day. But you did mention that campaign quests need to be restarted in order to like get.
Yeah, I have to abandon and pop it back in, and that was I mean, in a new campaign, new stories, that really what you want to do?
I know some dailies have you pick up a vehicle in the middle of the map and bombard an area, but the vehicle location is not always shown.
Yeah, so like when you open up your map, you know, you have like the zone that's all highlighted and shit. That's where you have to do the bombardment, but the vehicle is it's neither in the town where you pick up the quest, neither it's near the zone where you have to just randomly in the middle of the map. I don't know why that has to be the case. It could have just have been either in the town or in the middle of the map, or at least have the quest say, okay, pick up this dude. Yeah. He's in the middle of the map, then he'll fly you over to the zone. Because the south part, I think you can only access by flank because it's broken from the rest of the zone.
One thing that I also started to do is the Night Fae Assault thingy, which is also bugged. Like that's like really early on. Once you get into talk to Bolvar and
I think the first
get sent there, right? You get sent there, and you gotta kick it off with the battle. And you mentioned here it's either bugged or incomplete because you cannot kill the targets due to shield.
Okay, so there was at least the 9.1. I don't know if any other covenants have this issue, but there was a quest where I had to kill like 4 NPCs and I had to weaken them with a little buggy type thing. It's a Maldraxxus quest, because in each assault you kind of have like an NPC from each covenant. And you go to the NPC and it has an invulnerability shield and it says that Temel, which I think it's like a Venthyr goblin guy, is supposed to read the Sin Stone and break it. I did not have any buttons or any items that would break that. I did not have any NPCs with me that I have to talk to, like break this guy's shield. I did not have that, so I didn't know if I was doing something wrong because it wasn't clear from the quest text. The quest text says nothing about the shield. So, and I looked around, I couldn't see anything, and I stood around for like an hour trying to figure this out. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me, and that shouldn't be the case. I mean, that's not how the quests in WoW work.
All right, that aside, we also tested the new dungeon, Tesseract, which, let's just put it out there, listen, it's a great fucking really dungeon. Good. It's a great change of scenery, right? And it has this sort of Suramari vibe to it, but we won't spoil it. You're definitely gonna love the aesthetics and the boss mechanics really cool. I think the first thing that popped into our heads was this shit is not tuned.
No, that's not necessarily a problem because the numbers are always changed between the picture. But I mean, the mail thing, man, the mail thing. Like what's up with that?
Yeah. So there's this one boss in a mail room that basically has this mechanic where it shoots off like mails with bombs on them. And what you have to do is like pick up those. You walk through those. You pick it up as a backpack, and you have to throw it to another player until you get it to a player who's positioned to throw it in some sort of a bin to
like an extraction mail thing.
To get rid of it, right? Problem is, that shit is bugged as fuck. You would walk through them, nothing would happen. You would pick it up, you wouldn't be able to throw it. It was a mess. We wiped, I think, 7 times. Just fuck it.
Seven times in like 10 minutes. It was weird. Because again, the mechanic was not very straightforward. Either it was bugged or we were not doing it properly. If we were not doing it properly, then there's no indication on how to do it, and it's no consistency because sometimes you would just walk through it and pick it up and just walk with it slower.
You cannot click on it.
Sometimes you would just have to stay in that spot and then the action button to throw it away would pop on your screen, but if you moved a little bit, it will go away and the bomb would still be on the ground.
That shouldn't be right. That shouldn't be right.
Yeah, just email, man.
Yeah, it's it's 2021. Come on. But that being said, I still felt some of the bosses were either overtuned or undertuned. Overall, the vibe for it was really great. I'm not gonna lie. It's just the worrisome factor is that we're gonna have 9.1 in less than a week from now. You're gonna do the campaign, the intro, and whatever, and then you're gonna have the quest to unlock Tesseract as well. Probably within the raid and new season being launched.
Most likely.
I don't know if all of those things are fixed within the dungeon and everything we talked about so far in the build they have currently or not, but they're not saying anything, which is like really, really frustrating because, man, you have to make this work. We waited so long for 9.1.
Yeah, it's in a weird. Okay, so if they have everything fixed and it's like, okay, they'll see that when it's launched, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's fine, but they really cannot afford that, considering that a lot of the issues that people have complained about that they might have actually realized that they are issues were issues that we have feedback a long time ago, and just continually going through this process of not communicating with us and saying, okay, yeah, we heard you, we're actually fixing that right now, then I mean, what are we supposed to believe? Like, people are not renewing their subs, man.
Yeah, we're doing the quality check and quality assurance for free for them, and they're not listening. But that's fine. Okay, now let's talk about the big drama of the week, which are the Shards of Domination, and we've stumbled upon this as we're testing Tesseract. We're going to the vendor, and surprise, surprise, a lot of these shards are to be socketed in pieces that probably will contain your legendary, and your legendary cannot be socketed with those things. So what do you have to do? Recraft legendaries.
Yeah,
regrind, baby, because that's what you want to do.
That issue actually started initially from the new loot table of the raid, because most people have crafted their legendary in a specific item slot. Like, I think Vengeance Demon Hunter is one of the best examples. They didn't have a good risk to drop from dungeons or raids, so they crafted their legendary there.
Sure.
That aside,
a lot of classes have.
Yes, the fact, so that's the baseline issue, that the BIS items will change slots. So if you want BIS, you will have to recraft the legendaries, and there's currently no salvageable option. You cannot disenchant or move it or not have to pay for the whole process all over again. There's nothing like that right now. And there's another issue on top of it is that the raid will drop, and not just raid, but the Korthi as well will drop domination gear, which is a special type of gear that has a socket which can be socketed by these new gems which are called Shards of Domination. And they only drop from the raids, and you know the shards themselves. So they drop from the raid, and then you socket them in, and they give you extra bonuses like passive extra damage increase, leech.
They're really good.
Stuff like, they're actually really good.
I mean, if you not really talking about min-maxing here, but if you want that extra oomph, like all the 3 crafters,
that's actually good. I think it's gonna matter once
it's gonna matter.
You can upgrade them as well.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the domination gear will most likely take a slot where you have a legendary, because the 3 main pieces are head, shoulders, and chest, and a lot of those are the pieces with the most amount of stats, and that's where most people have crafted already their legendaries.
Yeah.
And then there's 2 more slots, and they change based on armor type, and I think I've wrote them down based on.
You said head, shoulder, and chest, and 2 slots based on armor type. But the major point here being that. First of all, you're gonna have to recraft some legendaries. That's a given, and I think Blizzard are aware of this, because at least in the latest article about this on Wowhead, some new slots are being opened for existing legendaries that were previously not available. So that's one thing. That on top of the fact that, okay, you're gonna have a lot more Soul Ash to get in 9.1. I know there's like a 50% increase in Soul Ash acquisition at the launch of 9.1, and you can redo Torghast layers for a 20% increase for Soul Ash.
Plus with the extra layers, they just reward more chunk of Soul Ash as well.
That's okay, that's fine and dandy. But at this point, I think we can all agree that nobody likes Torghast. We do it for the Soul Ash, we do it for this. We grinded our asses off for all of these legendaries. Why do we need to do it again? Who thought of this?
Hey, you don't have to do Torghast. You can do the assaults that are bugged in the mod that also give you. The solutions to this problem are very, it kind of feels like minimal effort, but not really minimal effort. Why not just let us disenchant them and
everybody was talking about that.
Either get the base item back, so I mean maybe we can resell it to the auction house, or at least get part of the Soul Ash back, or at least get the missives back, or something.
That would be
some of this stuff is really expensive, man.
Yeah, I know. All of the new legendaries. So I'm gonna give you an example. Sub rogues will switch their legendaries to the Ventry one. I saw the cost on the PTR. I think it was 5k something Soul Ash. I don't know if these will remain, but things are gonna get more expensive, dudes, and dudettes. So in that regard, I think it was a sense of, I don't know, decency to give us some option to just disenchant the existing legendaries, like you said, and give us some Soul Ash back. The fact that you have to put us into a grind machine once again is just
to get the same one but in a different stuff. Okay, so I did have this conversation on stream as well. I don't particularly mind grinding for progress in a patch. That's kind of what MMOs are.
I know,
but grinding for the same thing.
That's the problem. The same thing, and with the same torturing, boring ass, vomiting all over the place Torghast runs, which at this point, man, I did Torghast yesterday. I was like,
Torghast to be fair, Torghast is a smidge more fun in 9.1. That smidge is discussable and obviously based on everybody's preferences. But it feels like the solutions are there. They just don't want to grab it. They just don't like. But we want it to be like this, this.
They're silent about it. This is it. There's no communication. This is a big factor. I really thought, like, after the Shadowlands alpha and beta, their communication game was really, really high up there.
They seem really
pumped to, like, okay, and they said this multiple times, we want to include our community and get the feedback or whatever. Well, you're getting the fucking feedback, in bug reports, in videos, in forum posts or whatever, and nothing is being replied to, nothing is being answered to. Probably because they're kind of understaffed in that department, because we know Bobby fired some motherfuckers back in the day exactly from the community team.
Well, I mean, he needs his 2000 Lamborghinis, man.
Yeah, man. I know, man, his boat really needs some upgrading. But that being said, thanks to Wowhead and all the three crafters from the class Discord that, you know,
good.
there's this useful article, it's in the description, and you can see basically what you can do to make this transition a little bit more
efficient,
less frustrating. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess
take the most advantage because you can also socket stuff. So there's a good chance, because right now the socket thing will not work in Season 2. So if you buy sockets from Venari, it will only work on the legendaries that you recraft now in Season 1. So if the new slot that you can recraft your legendary, which is in the Wowhead article, can be socketed, you can resocket it now and have it as a socket in 9.1. Whereas if you have to craft it on a new slot that's being released in 9.1 as an extra option, then you'll probably have to socket it then, and that kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
But hey, you know what doesn't suck? Our Patreons, because you know these boys and girls are supporting this content on a monthly basis. You know, the 9.1 class previews, the podcast for the class specs, talking with all the theory crafters, you know, getting in depth with all that shit. The new format for On Cooldown, which is every Wednesday. You know, if we don't have shit to talk about, we rant or we give the props where props is due, right? Yeah. So making it a fair and balanced situation here. Plus a lot of things are coming, right? For 9.1, the guides and stuff. Other things to be announced as well. So stay tuned. Check the link in the description if you haven't already. Enjoy the Patreon team there. And thank you for watching the video.
See you next one.
See you next one. That's what we say.
I said in. I said it was silent. The in was silent.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.